Terrific. All right, I'm calling to order this meeting of the Finance, Taxation, and Assessment Committee. Meeting with us present are committee members O'Brien and Farrell. Also present is President Pro Tem Conti and Councilwoman Fahey. The sole item of business before us is Ordinance 5.12.19, which is for the purpose of potentially bonding. This was a placeholder, $1 million to do the roof for Engine 9. So we have had some discussions with Mr. Milano about this in our prior committee meetings, and I made sure that the administration was aware of the fact that he was talking about a full copper restoration of that, and you indicated that you weren't aware of whether or not the mayor knew about it, and you wanted time to talk about it, and now we hope you've had some time to consider this.
I just want to say thank you and I appreciate you guys coming in and doing this just for one item, but the way it was all going down, I just felt it was best for us to just kind of get our all together and talk about it. So the administration does want to proceed with replacing the copper roof. After talking with Randy and really getting a better idea of what's happening. When he originally was planning on the roof, it was more in lines of repairs. But now the situation has reached to a point where it needs to be replaced. If we looked at doing alternatives to copper, which we really don't want to do, we'd like to maintain the historic value of the building. But doing that would extend the process out by going through Historic Resources Commission. It could push us past the point of even being able to do the work after we bid it out this year, which means that we'd have to rig up some sort of tarping system or something like that. So that didn't seem appealing. The copper roof life is 100 years. It's something that we would leave behind long before we're all gone, and it preserves a fantastic building. At the same time, it maintains the safety and the structural workplace for our firefighters. So we really do feel it's the best option, the one that makes the most sense, and something that I think can show our commitment to our firefighters and to our commitment to preserving our historic buildings at the same time. So having said that too, I do want to give you guys a update on streetlights. Because it does play into overall bonding. We did lock into a rate of 2.83%, which is lower than the 3.
For 15 years.
For 15, yes.
2.83%, 15-year.
Yep. This rate.
And was that 26 million?
26 million.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So with that being said, with reducing the size of reducing the amount that we borrowed, with getting that rate. The annual reduction on our debt service for street lighting will be down about $400,000. Also, it's going to reduce about $800,000 of interest payments over the life of the bond as well. So we are seeing some.
How much over the life of the bond?
About $800,000. At least that's calculation coming out from Treasurer's office. We'll look at that and just verify all the numbers. Treasurer is going to come out with an official announcement early next week, so we're still going to crunch all the numbers with them. So I just wanted to share that, going into this final bond, that we do have some relief coming in from how the street lighting bonded. We do have the money. Now, so we are actually we're going to invest $9 million into a 7-day treasury, the remaining into a 30-day treasury, just so we can start earning money on this instead of
what
letting
kind
it
of
sit.
interest are you anticipating?
What are you thinking, Darius, for
interest rates?
Yeah, for returns on the T-bills? What what they're at right now?
I take a look. It's 2 point something.
Okay.
2.3-ish, but I'll take a look.
This is some emails that just happened today, so we haven't squared everything away just yet. But just, Treasury reached out knowing how much we could invest of that amount.
And how much, 7 days, how much are you doing
The
that?
$9 million that would potentially be used for the purchase, because we don't see the actual purchase happening within the next 7 days. So we figured we'd take the opportunity to earn a little bit of money on that while we're waiting. I am waiting back to hear from NIPA to give us more of a structured timeline as to when the purchase.
PSC has not approved yet, have they?
We haven't heard anything different from PSC, no, so that's another big issue that we're waiting on too, is
So we went
when
to
we're able
them
to
on
move.
December 2nd, and according to NIPA, it's usually 4 to 6 months. So we may be looking at redoing the Treasury, whatever, on a 7-day
Yeah,
basis.
that's something that we can continue, we can just continue to keep moving that out. Or if we get word that it's later on, we can put it into a longer term, but, you know, we definitely are not just gonna let it sit while we're waiting, so. It'll grow for us, so.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, so let's say, assuming you do get the approval from Public Service Commission by the beginning of this spring, would that be timely enough to get the contract for, well, first of all, to accomplish the sale of the contract to re-outfit the lights to
Oh, yeah,
achieve
that's,
savings?
from what I understand, that's already established with NIPA. As soon as the purchase takes place, they're ready to start the work immediately.
You have the contractor lined up then?
NIPA does, right?
NIPA does,
Uh-huh,
yes.
okay.
And so there'll be a 400,000, in other words, our electric light bill for 2019, you're quite confident it's going to be $400,000?
No, that's the debt service payment is being reduced by
Do you have, could
400,000.
you send us an actual number, and since you now know the debt service payment, because we have the charts
We can, yeah,
with the amount
we
that
can
was-
send the updated cash flow spreadsheet.
Yep, yeah,
NIPA did
all
send
right.
us one fillable, one that we can use, and so I can just plug the numbers in that, so we can send that out.
So I mean, basically, we're still on a time frame that would allow us to achieve approximately $400,000 savings in 2019.
Well, the 400,000 is for the debt service payment, which we wouldn't start paying until 2020.
I think our estimated savings in 2019 from this conversion was going to be around, I think we put in 550,000.
Okay.
So I
Yep.
think that his use of the 400,000
Oh, okay.
is what is confusing.
Yeah,
in the
no,
question he's
that
asking.
was a number, a conservative number I put in there, because back in September, it was very difficult to say whether we would start this project in April or start this project in August. But if everything starts based on the cash flow, if everything starts in April, that's projected, and because we don't have to make our first debt service payment until 2020, we'll actually be looking at a little bit over $2 million if it all comes through in savings from street lighting in this first year. But all that's dependent on when the work starts, and when we can start realizing those savings. So the longer.
So you don't need
beyond-
this bond at all? Just use the savings?
That's not realized savings. Anything can happen. This is something we have to RFP out now, because we're talking about, preserving this beautiful building and
So what
Requirements.
about grants? Has anybody done
we reached
any?
out to Schumer's and Gillibrand's offices. They haven't come back with anything really. They came back with what isn't available anymore, but haven't come back with what is. So I think that avenue may be a bit dried up, but we're still waiting to hear because they were doing some more
And
research.
what about Tonko? I mean, he sends out announcements regarding grants all the time.
We're talking
also.
about grants for which?
For the roof, I'm sorry, that's what I was
For
talking
the
about,
roof,
I'm sorry,
yes.
right.
I was told EPF, Environmental Protection Fund, is a possibility. I was just at a
Okay.
meeting with Erin Tobin.
Yeah, she's the one that I was hoping she's the one that you would talk to. She's on the Environmental Resources Board. too.
She said that that would be a good place to look.
Yeah, we would. I mean, we're certainly going to try to, chase after any grants that we can get. So that's not. We're not. Once the bond goes through, we're not going to drop that. That's still,
Right,
it'd still be nice to get a little help on these things. So
right.
that's not
And
going
it
to change.
seems like a classic kind of project to be able to do that with. I think, Jenny, Kathy, and I all had that immediate gut reaction when we started talking copper for,
Right.
historic replacement, et cetera. Any other questions? As long as we were just talking about grants, for the Skyway project, I'm wondering if we indeed
I actually have a question about the roof.
Okay.
a comment, actually, because I just met with Aaron and Chris Spencer and John Meyer, I guess, who's head of the Historic Resource Commission. The other thing they were saying is some of the other substitutes that you could use that would supposedly look like copper roof, their opinion was that the materials don't look that great. And they also said, as you said, the copper roof, has a much longer life. They said 80 to 90 years. But they said any of the substitute materials would only have like a 20 to 30 year useful life. So in the long run, you're going to be spending more for the copper roof, but you've got, it's going to last a lot longer too. So that's the other advantage.
So one of the things, having gone and looked at it too, is it's a particularly complicated roof. So I do see the labor also being up there. So, and I think that that's a factor when you're looking at 20-year versus 50-year roof or 100-year roof or an 80-year roof or something
Right,
like
they
that.
said you're not going to, the labor either way, you're going to spend the same pretty much, that's
Right.
what they said.
Because when you
Yeah,
have
but
to-
in this
yeah.
case, I think it's a lot more than you're, doing it on your
Oh, your garage.
raised ranch or something like that, where it's, because it has these really interesting dormers on the side. It has like 4 of them on each
Right.
side
And they said
of it,
that-
and that, so that there's additional seams and,
That's part of its historic character.
It is
I'm
expected to be a
picturing
4-month
copper roof on a
project.
raised ranch now.
But the expectation is, it is going to be a 4-month long project because of that, so.
it'll-
Should we make a motion on this and then?
Sure,
I
sure.
move that we accept this bond. the $1
Well, we
million.
move it forward to the full council with a positive recommendation.
I recommend that. I move that.
Second, and any further discussion? Any other comments from other
My
council
only other-
members? I
How many
want to
other
know
copper
for
roofs do we have?
In the city?
No, we might as well
Yeah.
take a vote on it.
the, I just want to know for the record that Councilmember Anani arrived about 5 minutes ago.
I have no further discussion.
All right.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
So that passes unanimously. So as long as we have you here, I just wanted to see, Randy Milano I specifically had asked about grants for the Skyway project, and he said that there was one that was submitted that there could be up to $5 million, but that did not come through.
It's scheduled to be awarded this month.
So we don't
So-
have any information on that.
And which grant is that then?
I'm not sure.
Thank you
Is
for
it the FHA
joining us, Mr.
grant?
Shanafar, and thank you for the good news about the interest rates.
ACDA is submitted on behalf. Honestly, that's really, I would probably talk to Brian or David more on that side of it.
Okay.
But yeah, but from what I gather, and I was just in a meeting about this during the week, we won't know about how much the award is going to be for us until in February. But we also have some reassurances from the governor's office and from DOT that there'll be additional support coming as well. But which is really, I understand why we couldn't table it, but there's a lot of this initial award has been delayed since the fall. So the expectation when it went into the budget was that we'd have all this information and all these guarantees in place. So that's kind of what happened.
I just want to say from my standpoint, I have a huge concern about the additional costs for maintaining this, and that was something also that Mr. Milano could not provide us with any information other than to tell us about the biennial inspections, bridge inspections that are required. That would be about $50,000 a year. And then I read in the report that they don't even want you to do a typical under bridge inspection, I think, by being suspended from the bridge, because the extra weight would pose a risk, which makes me a little, gasp. This is, so this would not be like your normal park in maintaining it, And if you're
Yeah.
looking at the skylines, the High Line as a thing, I've researched that. The High Line is only 3 times the distance for this, and they are spending $2.5 to $3 million a year.
It is.
Along with a lot of
Yeah,
volunteers.
it is a priority that the state maintain at least a large share of the maintenance of the Skyway, so.
So that's not what Mr. Milano told me.
Well, apparently he had been sent some mixed messages as yes, they would, and then yes and no, they wouldn't. But there's been some more dialogue, not just between Randy and the state, but more on Brian's end. So it's something that I think is an important piece to it, but, it's all part of the process.
My gut is that we should be exploring leaving part of the ramp there and for vehicle traffic, and then using half of it for pedestrian, whatever, walkway, to really limit our costs. The cost of this particular one, I saw what the mayor tweeted, is like 10 times what we have spent on all the other parks combined. Now, I understand that that's not going to be all our money, but the 16 million is, we've only bonded for 1.5 million for all the other parks that we've done to date. So I'd be glad to give $150,000 like we've given to the other parks.
And also too, just reading that editorial, looking at a regional approach. If this is going to be a regional benefit, have we thought about partnering with like Homes or other regional towns to kind of fundraise for this project?
Yes, actually, that is part of the process. I didn't come here to talk about
I know.
Skyway, to be
Yes.
honest,
I know,
and
that's
I'm
what
not
I
the
read.
authority on the inner workings of it all, but I can tell you what I know, and that's about the best I can do. Is yes, that discussion is there, that we are looking to partner with whoever, and whoever is willing to be a part of it, and there is going to be a campaign created to get some more regional support within that. So that is on the agenda. But like I said, I'm not the right person to get into detailed questions about this.
I thank you very much for taking time out of your day to
Thank
be
you.
here. And so that will be on Mondays with a recommendation, agenda with a recommendation for passage. With that, I'm concluding the meeting.